And today's lesson we're going to look at control flow. But before we do that, there's another concept that I just want us to look at that is related to our basic operations. So remember when I asked the question that whenever we're adding something to the values that we have to think about where we're going to store them, in which variable they're going to go, and all that. So there is a case whereby we might have our variable like over here. We might have our variable x is equal to 5, and we have another one just below there. This is y is equal to 1. When we have what x is equal to 5, you might want to increment that x value. You might want to add you might want to increment it by 1. You might want to add 1 to it, right? And you don't want to store it in a separate variable, so there's no need to introduce another variable, maybe another variable called z, where you say z is equal to x plus 1. You just want x to increase, the value that's in x to increase by 1, right? So x has 5. So what you can come in here and say is, what you want now, you now want x to be equal to whatever was in x, which is 5 over here. That was the value that x had, and then you add 1. So it comes in and checks what was the value of x before this. The value of x was 5. So it comes in here and it puts a 5, and we add 1. So when we print this will become a 6. That's one way of writing it. Again, you can, instead of write, this is a lengthier way of writing it, so I am going to show another way to do it using a different variable. Let's say we have y is equal to 1. You want to add 1 to the value that's in y, and 1 over here, you want to add 1 so that it becomes 2. Instead of writing y is equals to y, which was already 1 plus another 1 is equal to 2, you can write it like this: y plus equals 1. This is a way we can increment our variable by 1. So this is a syntax that we can use. It's a short way of writing it. Instead of having to go through this, you can write it like this. So let's just print these values out. As you can see over here, 5 plus 1, we get a 6. And y was 1. When we added 1, it becomes 2. So that's another way we can go about it. I hadn't introduced it in the previous video, so I thought it would be necessary for us here. So over here, let me look at control flow, right? So what are we looking at when we have control flow, right? Sometimes we want Python to make decisions. We want it to make decisions for us. So it might be that it's looking at the temperature of the room, or a program or a system is looking at the temperature of the room, and we want it if that system has a set threshold, right, and it goes below that or above that threshold, depending on the conditions that we have set, right, we want it to do something. So let's say we want it, if temperature is above 80 degrees, we want our machine to tell us that maintenance, to send an alert or something that the maintenance is required. Or if the temperature is below 10 degrees, we want it to tell us that there is a problem in the machine or something like that. Or it should tell us if neither of those conditions have been met, it can just tell us that everything is okay. That is what we might want. So let's introduce one over here. So let's say, right, I want to write something over here, sorry. Let's say we have temperature. Our temperature is equal to 90, right? But introduce something that we know as if statements there, right? With if statements, these are the ones that are going to help us check a condition, right? So we have a temperature that's equal to 40 degrees, right? And we want to set a condition that if our temperature exceeds a set temperature, in this case, let's say if our temperature exceeds 20 degrees, it should tell us that there is maintenance needed, right? And if not, it will just tell us that it's okay, right? So I'm going to come here and say if temp if temperature is greater than 30, we want it to do something, right? If temperature is above 30, we want it to do something. So this is how we do it in Python, right? So this is our condition. If temperature is above 30, we put a semicolon there, a colon over there, and then it has to do something there, blah 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 over there, right? Otherwise, if it's not above 30, it should do something else. So we use else. Else do this. So if statements we have, these are what we call, so these are if else statement. So if a condition is met, I should not use this pen, right? If a condition is met, if a condition is met, we should do something. Otherwise, do this instead. This is what if else statements mean, right? So over here, what do we want to do if this is above 30? I'm just going to keep it simple. I want us to write the condition that we have here now. So another thing to note when we're talking about the syntax, if we have something that we wanted to do or a condition, we have to look at this part of the code where we are writing the condition, and we have to have an indentation. So yeah, I'm going to put in the tab. It has to be indented. So that means that whatever it is we're doing, it has to be indented. That's just the syntax, how it is, right? So over here, we wanted to print something out. Parentheses, then we put our quotes. We wanted to print something out. Maintenance, like I said, if you're using double quotes, it's fine. They just have to be the same. Opening and closing, they have to be the same. If it's a single quote, it has to be the same as the opening and as well as the closing. That's fine. So I can say machine needs maintenance, right? Maintenance, right? And then this is not a condition, it's not indented, it's the other this is not the output over here. While we have the conditions are the ones that are not indented. If then let's say that if this condition is not met, we are going to do something else. This is where we put our else is not indented, but what we write here is what's indented, right? Print machine is okay. It gets that for us, right? Right over there. We are not supposed to be using this as beginners. We are supposed to. Let us see if we can find AI assistance. Use private outputs, settings, side editor. Yes, over here. So this is where you're supposed to come in and change this one. Show context part code completions. Please turn this off. Turn this off. Thank you. And this will save you, right? So this is what we want to see. So we already have our variable here, and we have placed 40 in that variable. It will check if it's above 30, it should print this, and if it's below that, it should print this. So what do we have here? Is it above 30? Yes, it is. So it's going to print out the first statement. Machine needs maintenance. So that's good. Then we also have the if statement, right? If statements. Maybe you might have a situation where you want to figure out what happens when it's equal to 30, right? So we have if it's greater than 30, you want to check if it's equal to 30 or if it's something else. We have more conditions, right? So you can introduce another check. So else over here is like more of like the default, what happens, the default, and then this one is our first condition. So we can introduce another check, which will become our third condition, right? So this one will be else if, but it's condensed to elif, right? And if temp is equal to 30. How does it do over there? We want it, we indent is equal to, oh yeah, this is a good one over here. Remember how I mentioned that this is not like an equal sign, like to show that this value is equal to that value, like the one that we use in maths. That's right. Over here, if you want to use that one that says 3 is equal to 3, like that shows that these are exact same values, we have to put double equal signs over here. So we want to say if our temperature is exactly equal, like this is the equal sign that we'll be using now. We have to put, this is not an assignment sign now it's a net sign. So over here we tab inside to write what happens when we have that condition, right? We have to indent it, and then over here we say if it's equal to 30, we might say machine at limit, machine at limit over there. This is what we might have. That was a wrong spelling. Over there, this is what we have. And that's fine for us. So you might add more conditions. You might want it if it's a range, we can do that as well. We can introduce it as a range. You just use your math symbols. It's greater than 45, less than that. You can do that. We can introduce that. So I think that might be part of your homework to look at advanced operations, how you can do that. You can also look at it from another way. We can have decisions based on calculations, right? What do I mean by that? We might have backspace, we might have variables like temp, might have temperature, might have temperature. Let's set a value of 45. We might have a value of limits. Let's set it to 40. And we might have another variable for difference, right? For difference. So this will be equal to temp minus limits over here. Limit there. And when we have this, what we might want to, okay, it already figured it out, right? Okay, we might have our else if statements here to check on that difference on that calculation. So you might have it on calculations, and we check now if the difference is greater than a certain number, then you do print out something, and if the difference is equal to another value, it will print out something else. So over here you see that if our temperature is 40 and our limit is 45, right? We see that the difference is greater than 0. It has already passed the limit that we've set, so our machine will need maintenance. So this is why we have that first condition over here. This is machine needs maintenance. And if the difference is equal to 0, that means machine is 40 and the limit is 40. That's where we can get the difference being equal to 0. That means the machine is at limit. Otherwise, if our value, let's say it was 30 minus 4, if it was a negative value or whatever, we would see that our machine will be okay. So it will print okay, though that's the default value. This is what we can do. We can base it off our calculation. Our decision can be based off a calculation that we do and all that. So yeah, I think this sums up what we have when we have control flow. So it's just looking at the conditions that we do have. I will send some exercises for you to do, and you can always look at other questions online to see if you can apply that math logic and all this else if statements together. So thank you.